Astrology with Laurelle. This is my first astrology video, and I'm so excited to be bringing it to you through Wild Wandering Creations. Some of you may not know this, but I've been studying astrology for about a year now, and I'm ready to introduce it to my business and really dive into it with all of you. And I thought, what better way than to give the astrological forecast for January, so for the beginning of the year, just in case any of you were interested. So I am going to be shouting out a couple of dates as I talk you through this video of the astrological forecast for January. So if you want, grab a pen and paper, maybe a notebook, and you can jot down some of these dates and see how the energy of these days influence you. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about Capricorn season. So we entered Capricorn season at the tail end of December. So we've already been seeing some of these themes play out already. So some of the themes that you might notice is that it's the end of one season, it's welcoming a new season, and it's also ending a year, welcoming a new year, which is very exciting. So it's almost like closing the door to pave the way for new beginnings. Just slow down, I'm talking too fast. And it's a time to focus and set intentions, and it's also very much a time to slow down and find gratitude. So taking some time, if you've been feeling like you need to rest and that you don't have a lot of energy, that could be why, because it's time to slow down. And then as we come into the new year, you're going to get grounded energy and be able to focus a little bit more. So tail end of December feels more slow, and the beginning of January feels a little bit more uplifting, and you might feel like that you can be a little bit more productive at the beginning of the year. Jupiter also went into Pisces on December 28th, which is very exciting. I was super excited for this transit because Jupiter in Pisces is extremely welcoming. It is the energy that the world needs right now. So if things have been a little unsettling, I mean, we can see in the world that it hasn't been the greatest energy, especially the tail end of December. But as we move into the new year, we're welcomed with that Pisces energy in Jupiter that took place on December 28th, and it's going to stay there until about May 2022, and then we'll get another glimpse of it at the end of the year. So what that means is that Jupiter really feels at home in Pisces because it's natural ruler, and Jupiter is the planet of expansion, abundance, it's luck, good fortune. It's really about expansion. So the best thing that you can do is when you're looking at your own astrological chart, notice where Pisces falls in your chart, and this is the area of your life where you can feel expansion. So for example, mine's happening in my first house, so there's going to be a lot of expansion with the self, a lot of self-development, a lot of self-growth. So that's what I can expect to experience. So take a look at your chart, see on the outside of the ring where Pisces falls, and that is where those themes will take place. So when Jupiter is in Pisces, we can collectively start to find a little bit more compassion and lean into our spiritual nature. So we might see a little bit more of like a spiritual awakening in the world, maybe people getting more in touch. That's why we see kind of an uprising in astrology, is this kind of energy. So it's really an opportunity to dream big and heal from the last couple of years, because Pisces energy is super healing. So that's something that we all collectively really need. And Jupiter has been in Capricorn and Aquarius for the last couple of years, which has been really restricting because Jupiter is that planet of expansion. And when Capricorn and Aquarius are there, they're good and they provide structure and stability, but it limits the expansion of Jupiter. So Jupiter is finally free to kind of like explore the world, and like Pisces is all about fantasy and it's dreaming. The only thing that we need to watch out for is that Jupiter sometimes is excessive. So making sure that we're not indulging too much. And it's also, Pisces has got that kind of like escapism and living in a dreamland. So we want to make sure that we're staying a little bit grounded and we're not getting lost in the fantasy of the world. And this placement though provides us with a lot of hope. So I think hope is what we really need, especially right now. So it's a good time to allow us to access what's good in the world and lean lean into feelings of positivity and trust what the future holds. So that's Jupiter in Pisces, and you can expect this energy to continue on until May. And if you're not feeling the energy at the first half of the year, don't worry, we'll get a glimpse of that energy again at the end of the year. So don't feel like you've missed out. There's lots of opportunity here for expansion and growth. So moving on January 1st, the Sun in Capricorn forms a trine with Uranus and Taurus. So this energy is kind of an opportunity to expand your life through new encounters, which is really exciting on the first day of the year. And it's an excellent transit for engaging in new activities. So if there's something you've been wanting to try, if there's something that you've wanted to explore, first day of the year is an excellent opportunity to do so. January 2nd, we have a lot going on. Mercury enters Aquarius at 2:09 a.m. That's Eastern Standard Time. And we also have the new moon in Capricorn coming in at 1:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at 12 degrees. So when Mercury moves into Aquarius, we can think outside the box. We have inventive ideas, new ideas, fresh perspective. It's also the forefront of technology. So we could kind of see maybe some new technological growth happening, maybe some new findings around this time. And it's a good time to expand the mind with innovative ideas. So express your ideas, use your imagination, and expand your mind through the innovative ideas of others. So make sure that you're listening to what others have to say as well. With the new moon in Capricorn, this is a super positive energy. It's a really, really good new moon to start the new year with. It's a time to focus our energy on how you want to feel going into the new year. And it's an excellent energy to set intentions for the new year. So I would hold off until January 2nd if you want to set intentions for the new year, because this is where it's really going to manifest. So really get in line with what you want, how you want to feel, and what dreams you want to focus on. January 4th, Venus is going to form a sextile with Neptune, and this is going to stay there until January 6th. This is a creative, imaginative energy. It's a good time to expose yourself to music, to art, and maybe even expose yourself to beautiful surroundings. So maybe you get out in nature, explore a new part of town, maybe you get out, go away. This is just a really good time to kind of lean into that creative energy. On January 8th, the Sun is going to come into conjunction with Venus, and it's going to stay there until January 9th. And this is also the midway point of the Venus Retrograde, which I'm going to touch on. So this is a really good time to get out and socialize, and it's also kind of going to bring those themes of the Venus Retrograde to the forefront. So anything that's been coming up, anything that's been taking place. So the Venus Retrograde, basically what it means is it's been moving backwards in the sign of Capricorn. So it's really about reevaluating relationships, its transformation, its growth. It's kind of bringing attention to the areas in your relationship that kind of need your attention. So this can include romantic, this can include friendship, and it's a good time to become clear on what you want and what you don't want in your relationship. So if anything has been feeling unsettled or confused, it'll probably start to settle around this time. So January 8th, January 9th, things will start to kind of become into clearer focus. You'll start to understand what those changes mean. And it could also be a big focus on your sense of identity. When the Sun and Venus come together, Venus is all about love, the Sun is all about self. So it's really kind of bringing a focus to yourself and the energy that you're giving yourself and taking time to just be. So maybe self-acceptance, all those beautiful things. If an example would be a lot of the times we think of retrogrades as a negative thing when really they're not. So going to give you a little positive spin on how it can play out is when Venus went retrograde, I actually reconciled with a friend of mine that we had kind of fallen apart, and I was really sad about this friendship, and we reconciled. So that's a perfect example of how a retrograde can play out in a positive way. So don't hate those retrogrades. They are, they're there for a reason. Okay, moving on. So on January 10th, the Sun is going to sextile Neptune until January 11th. So this day, the physical energy can be somewhat lowered, so be mindful of that energy. It's an excellent time to kind of withdraw from maybe your regular routine and lean into rest. So focus on what's important to you, and it's a good time to gain a deeper understanding of who you are and improve your spiritual well-being. So meditation, yoga, all those beautiful things would be a great opportunity to check in. January 10th, Mars is going to square Neptune until about January 12th. So what this means is this is going to be a time when maybe you're questioning yourself, your intentions for your life. Things could feel confusing, physical energies might be low, and it's important not to force yourself to do anything that you don't have the energy for. So very important, if you don't have the energy to do something, don't do it, and don't feel guilty about not doing it. Sometimes we're called to rest for a reason. So this is a really good time to retreat, and it's also a good time to avoid any confrontations with others. January 12th, Mercury is going to square off with Uranus until about January 15th. Our minds can be very stimulated during this time. Be open to flexibility. Things might be a little up in the air. So try not to expect too much, and it's a kind of a scattered energy, so if you're having a hard time focusing, this could be why. So remember to be patient with yourself. And everyone's favorite, Mercury is going retrograde on January 14th at 6:14 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we've probably already been experiencing a little bit of this energy because we have that pre-energy of Mercury being in retrograde. So it's like that pre-shadow area. And it's coming in at 10 degrees, and it's going to stay there in retrograde until February 3rd. Now, first and foremost, Mercury retrograde is not a negative thing. Sometimes it just brings light to what we need to focus our energy on. With Mercury being in Aquarius retrograding, it's a really good time to go inward, focus on who you are and who you want to be. And there's going to be a lot of focus on communication. So when it comes to being in Aquarius, think large scale. Aquarius is the collective, so it could be communication widespread. So how are you communicating to the world, in your job, in your community, all those things, and getting clear on those intentions. It's also a good time to get clear on your own unique journey through this lifetime. And Mercury, of course, affects communication, travel, and technology. So we can expect some maybe mishaps in technology and some travel delays. So remember, plan ahead, be patient, back up all those things, and be extra patient with yourself, because sometimes when we enter Mercury retrograde, we enter with kind of like a negative association with it. And this is a really good time to shift your perspective on Mercury retrograde. So try not to focus too much on what can go wrong, and maybe focus on what can change and what you need to bring light to. It's also a really good time to focus on what's working and what's not working. So again, big focus on communication. And what's really interesting about this retrograde is it's going to actually move into the sign of Capricorn on January 25th, which is really interesting because usually the Mercury stays in the same sign as it retrogrades, but this time it is moving between two signs. So it was in Aquarius, which is an air sign, and now it's moving into the earth signs. So we're moving into Capricorn, so we can expect a little bit of shift in that energy. And it's really interesting that it's happening into these two signs because both of these signs are ruled by Saturn. So Aquarius kind of likes to break barriers, it likes to pave new ways, it likes to think outside of the box, where Capricorn is really like, it likes the old patterns, it likes stability, it likes structure. So when you have these two combining, that two energy with Mercury in retrograde, we can kind of see the blend of the old with the new, which is exciting. Okay, and then we have the full moon in Cancer happening on January 17th at 6:48 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's coming in at 27 degrees. So the first full moon falls in the sensitive sign in Cancer. It's one of the most sensitive signs of the zodiac, so we can expect a lot of emotions, It's a really good time to nurture the soul. Take time to bring light to the sensitive parts of yourself. Look at the parts that need tending to, and bring focus on how we process and how we heal through our emotions. And the key word here is nurturing. So how do you nurture? How do you like to be nurtured? And when it comes to the new moons and the full moons, we have the new moon in Capricorn, full moon in Cancer. What you want to do is look at your chart, see where Cancer is, see where Capricorn is, and those are kind of going to be the themes of the new moon and the full moon. So it'll kind of highlight which houses are taking place, and then it will give you a little bit of an idea of what to do with that energy. So Capricorn is that grounding energy. It's how you want to feel. So maybe where in your chart is it showing how you want to feel? And then Cancer, nurturing, what part of yourself do you need to nurture? So it could be, if it's the 6th house, maybe it's something to do with work and service towards others. Maybe it has to do with your health. If you have Capricorn coming through the 11th house, it could be how do you want to feel in your community, in your friendships? How can you ground your energy? All those kinds of things. So that gives you an idea of how that energy can play out. So on January 18th, Uranus is actually going to station direct in Taurus at 10 degrees, and this is activating the energy of this planet. So Uranus has been retrograde, so whenever a planet goes direct in the sign, we can feel kind of an activation in this energy. So what that means is we could have themes around attempting to be free of material possessions and financial obligations, find creative ways to establish security. And then remember that this isn't personal focus, this is collective focus. So this is really like stepping out of our comfort zone. We can see economical invention, solving issues maybe around environmentalism. And with that combination of Jupiter and Pisces, maybe we can see a little bit more compassion for and healing for the planet, which I'm extremely looking forward to. And it's also breaking free of patterns that are no longer working. So maybe this is a time that we see that something we break away from so that we can pave the way for something that will collectively help the world. And remember, as I'm going through all these things, these are my interpretations. So taking it lightly. What I say might not come true, but it's just how I'm interpreting the planets and the transit. So I would love to know how this plays out for you. So leave a comment if you notice this shift in this energy. I would love to hear about it. On January 18th, we also have the nodes. So the lunar nodes will be shifting into the signs of Scorpio and Taurus. So they have been in Gemini and Sagittarius for the last year and a half. We got a glimpse of that Scorpio-Taurus energy back in November of 2021. And now these nodes are going to stay here for the next 2 years. So it's basically going to activate the houses that these nodes are falling into. So how to find this in your chart is it's like the little horseshoe and the upside down horseshoe. It will fall into your chart and you can see what houses are being activated during this time. Collectively, what can we feel with that Scorpio-Taurus energy? We can find stillness, ground our energy, and bring awareness to all we've experienced and gone through over the last year and a half. And it's a time for collective transformation and growth. Of course, when the signs are in Taurus and Scorpio, sometimes we can see some things with nature. And of course, Scorpio is very much like death and rebirth. So we can see some destruction, but usually, like what I like to say is sometimes something needs to end, and sometimes it's in a really dramatic way for something new to be born. So it might not feel pleasant in the moment, but it's paving the way for something really good. So keeping that in mind, if things get a little hectic and maybe a little uncomfortable. On January 19th, the sun is going to enter Aquarius, so we're entering Aquarius season. As an Aquarius, I'm a little biased, but I love this season. Main themes of Aquarius season is innovation, it's new perspective, a time to focus your energy, it's aspiration for change, clarify your vision for the future, and open your mind to new possibilities. This is a really good energy, and it's really interesting because we always think of Capricorn and Aquarius as such different signs, but they're really quite similar. They like to focus their energy, they just approach it from completely different ways. So you're kind of like, all your goals from Capricorn are coming into that Aquarius season and maybe adding a little fresh perspective, new ideas, and seeing how you can kind of transform those ideas into something beautiful. January 23rd, we have Venus trining Uranus, and it's going to stay there until February 4th. And this is excitement, unexpected, and stimulating energy. So really, really interested to see how that energy is going to play out. Expect the unexpected, and you can expect to have your energy stimulated and maybe feel a little bit more productive. January 24th, Mars is going to enter Capricorn. We have a couple of planets entering Capricorn at the end of the month, so we're going to have a lot of Capricorn energy there. When Mars enters Capricorn, we can find that we're more deliberate and steady in accomplishing our goals, ability to accomplish a lot as we strive towards those goals. Shadow side is we can have workaholic, we can be overly cautious, so those are some things to watch out for. But it's also a good time to break out of old patterns. And as you can see, there's a lot of themes of breaking out of old patterns to pave the way for something new. So January might not necessarily feel warm and fuzzy, but it is paving the way for the rest of the year. On January 28th, Mercury is going to form a conjunction with Pluto until the 29th, and this signifies a time of very intense mental activity. So focusing on mental health, focusing on your surroundings and how it's affecting your mental well-being is going to be a focus around this time. Venus is going to station direct on January 29th at 3:46 a.m. at 11 degrees. And this is also going to activate that energy. So if you didn't feel like you had that clear vision at the beginning of January, around January 8th, 9th, you can come to see all those things come to an end, come to a close. And if you've been feeling unsettled in your relationships or things have been unclear, it should start to feel a little bit lighter around this time. You'll feel more focus in your relationships. Everything that you've been questioning will be answered around this time. So yeah, and finally on January 30th, the Sun is going to square Uranus. So this can be somewhat of a disruptive transit. Will not follow regular routine. You can expect the unexpected. Tail end of January is expect the unexpected. So be open. And what I always say in meditation and yoga is expectations are what limit us and cause us suffering. So really being open to new ways, be open to something that you weren't expecting, and really just trust the unfolding. Relationships can also have a little bit of disruption around this time. If it's not hitting you directly, you might not feel this at all. Collectively, we might feel this though, and this also suggests that restrictions can be placed upon you. So depending on what's happening in the world, we might see some restrictions happening. Not sure how that's going to play out. Again, just my interpretation. It doesn't mean it will always come true. So that is your astrological forecast for January. Those are what's happening. Make sure that you mark those dates down and let me know how this energy affected you. And of course, I'll be back again. For each month, I'm going to be doing these short videos to just give you an idea of what you can expect for the month. But again, remember, this is collective energy, so you might not feel this personally. It could be just affecting the collective, and depending on what's happening in your chart and how these transits are affecting you, that's where you're going to really feel it. So anytime I mention a transit, take a look at your chart, see where it could be affecting you. And I'll do a video on how to look this up on your chart to make it easy for everyone. And of course, I forgot to mention for those new moons and full moons, remember that I host new moon and full moon workshops every single month. Those are available to you. I'll link them in the comment section below. So this video is going to be live on Monday, the first new moon in Capricorn workshop that will take place at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, January 17th is the full moon in Cancer, and that's also going to be happening on a Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And to finish off this video, I'm just going to do a little card pull to see what the energy of January is asking of us, and where we can maybe focus our energy a little bit more. So let's see what the cards say today. Okay, this is interesting. So it is Imrama. Where are you being called to journey to? I mean, how perfect is that for a card for January? Let's see what it has to say. Okay, I absolutely love this card. Okay, so what it's saying is Imrama. I hope I'm saying that right. I could be absolutely butchering it, but it's a Celtic word which means journey of the soul. So a voyage on which we don't know where we're going, but our soul knows the way. If you pulled this card, you're either being called on a soul journey or are already on one. It could be to a physical, ancient place or metaphoric. So when we journey to places that our soul remembers, a shift takes place both within us and to the planet as well. This card is suggesting that we are being called to journey to a place that is sacred to our soul. So this is saying that our soul is basically ready to journey deep. So I think that's really exciting because I think the world is on a deep journey, and I think that we're on a deep healing journey, and we're going to be able to find and access compassion a little bit deeper as well as hope. So I think this energy is perfect. I absolutely love this. So maybe you want to answer this question for yourself. Where are you being called to journey to? So let me know in the comment section below how that shows up for you. So excited. This has been so much fun. I can't wait to do this every single month. If you want to see more astrological videos, please pop it in the comment section below of what you would like to see more of. And next week, we've got meditation coming up. I'm so excited to share these meditations with you. And the week after that, we are back to practicing yoga together. So I look forward to that. Our first class of the new year is going to be for nourishment. So hopefully I'll see you then. And I look forward to exploring the astrological energy of February. Have a good day, everyone.